And here I'm not so much interested in exactly how this particular passage plugs into the storytelling as it's going on in Scroll 10. I'm interested more in the actual wording. And a lot of things slip out here. A lot of things are spelled out more explicitly than the very dignified medium of epic will allow in most other places. I love the fact that here, Hector, who is the leader of the Trojans, the military leader, and really political leader as well, there he is, accompanied by all of his senior advisors, and he stations himself at the tomb of Ilos, who is the prototypical founding hero of Troy. Ilos is the name giver, so to speak, to Ilion, which is the other word for Troy. So the idea of boulas bouleué, planning plans, very ostentatious way of saying that there's a lot of mental processing going on here. It is somehow charged by the energy of the spirit of the dead hero, Ilos. So this is very indicative of hero cult, but it's hero cult viewed from the point of view of the other side. So now it's the Trojans, and how do they do their hero cults? And all along, the Trojans are simply a mirror for the Achaeans. The Proto-Greeks can look at Greek-like people, but there can be other dimensions of the Greek experience explored by what the Trojans do.
So you're saying then that the otherness of them is an opportunity to talk
Yes.
more explicitly about cult?
Yes, and we have this happening in all sorts of media. When we read Herodotus in other hours, we'll see that Herodotus can talk much more freely about things like hero cult, the mysteries of hero cult, being initiated into the mysteries of hero cult, if he looks at things that are analogous in other cultures like Egyptian culture and so on. In the case of the Trojans, there's very little in the Iliad that would suggest that the Trojans are non-Greek speaking people. They're as Greek as apple pie, but various aspects of them reflect things that are much more difficult to say when you're talking about the Achaeans, aka Danaans, aka Argives, because for the historical period, those are the people who are the ancestors of the Greeks, and the Trojans, yes and no. So it's a way of exploring Greekness even more, and you see it here.
Can you ask also about this experience that's happening around the tomb? So how should we be thinking about the experience of the people who are participating in hero cult? Is this something that we should be thinking of as a very real, tangible experience for them?
I would think so. And later on, when we read Philostratus, we almost wish, couldn't we have something like that going back to the early period? But we don't. Philostratus is 3rd century, early 3rd century, but still 3rd century CE, very, very, very late. So the quote-unquote religious experience of people who are worshiping heroes in hero cult, yes, they're very realistic, but we just wish we saw it in an earlier cross-section. And in a sense, we do when we read the Iliad, because every time a character reacts to a psūkhē, the psychology of it is really the psychology of worship. And sure, technically here in the heroic age, people are still talking to each other, addressing each other as heroes, because they are in the heroic age. But in another way, the perspective is already the perspective of the future, of the people who will be listening to the Iliad. After all, the medium comes from a much later period, looking back, always looking back, and further back and further back. And so here, you really get a sense of the mentality and even the emotionalism of what it is to communicate mentally with the spirits of the dead, and how the spirits of the dead inform decisions and shape decisions, because heroes are models. Heroes are models positively most of the time, negatively about various larger-than-life atrocities they commit, but they're still models.
And he's coming to this point of coming to the hero at a critical point, right?
Always.
Yeah.
It's always the crisis. It's always the need to focus, to concentrate. And here we are as we negotiate our way through the Iliad. We panic so many times. Am I getting it? Am I understanding the plot? And there's so many cues like this, and the cues really are the cues for the ancient world already. So it's almost a privilege to be able to tune in, as it were, to the mentality of the heroic age as viewed by a post-heroic age, which is, let's say, 6th century Athens, when the Iliad was performed in a way that we can pretty much reconstruct.
And the message is always, when you're stuck, look to the heroes because they're going to show the way.
Exactly, the heroes always show the way because they are the index, they're
Yeah.
the indicators, they are the sign, signal, symbol. And it's not just their tomb, it's thinking about the tomb, therefore thinking about their death and thinking about everything they're all about.